Division is finally here, and just like many of you, I have already spent an unhealthy amount of time within a post-epidemic New York City. As beautiful and welcoming as the Big Apple is, it can still be dangerous, and the restoration of the historic city rests upon your survival. Thankfully, the Nerd Stash has 7 tips for your survival. Some may seem obvious and others not so, yet when you combine them all together, you'll soon be the biggest terror in New York City. The Division is essentially an MMO, and as such, you need to be connected to the servers at all times. If, however, like me, you prefer a solo outing, the Division can accommodate for that too. Some of the missions can be difficult though, even when you are at the recommended level. Thankfully, the clever people at Ubisoft have this covered. When approaching a main story mission, you can instantly find a party to attempt it with. Simply select quick matchmaking and you can join a game with other players and work together as a team. Once the mission is completed, simply bring up the menu and leave the party. Once story missions are completed, you can replay these missions in the future under harder difficulty settings, and the matchmaking can be accessed from the map. You do not even have to go to the mission marker. When you are roaming the streets, your map will be infested with activities. Side missions or encounters will be small operations where you can gain experience, but more importantly, resources for your home base. The map is segregated into zones of difficulties, and as you progress in levels, your instinct is to immediately approach the new areas. Do not skip these side missions in lower level areas though. They may not offer as much experience as the higher level endeavours, but the resources acquired here are immensely useful. When at a higher level, returning to these areas and finishing these missions will take no time at all with your superior firepower, but gaining medical, power or tech supplies will allow you to expand your base. This in turn grants you new abilities that simple XP points cannot reward you with. The base of operations is the core hub, and returning here frequently is essential for prevailing within these harsh conditions. There are safe houses in all of the districts for replenishments and vendors, but the base of operations will offer much more. As you collect resources from the previous tip, you can redeem these to expand your base. By constructing new departments, you are rewarded with new abilities and perks, but that is not all. Spending these well-earned points will open new stations to interact with. New vendors will offer you rare equipment, and there is a section that allows you to change the abilities of a piece of equipment. Do you have a weapon that you love but the bonuses do not complement your playstyle? Take your weapon to this area and you can replace this useless ability for one that could give you the edge in a firefight. You'll be rewarded with credits for completing missions, but the real entrepreneur in you should be selling unwanted gifts. When tackling the troublemakers of New York, they may drop useful items for you. More often than not, these items will not benefit your loadout, yet still pick them up. Once you've collected them, open your inventory and mark them as junk. When returning to your base or a safe house, speak to the vendor and go to the sell tab. By simply pressing the analog button, you will sell all of your junk and see the money come pouring in. Expect to collect a lot of merchandise in the Division. Here is a breakdown of how you should evaluate your equipment. Check the colour. White, green, blue, purple and yellow is the ascending order of rarity. Check the level of the items. If you are level 15 and you have level 7 armour equipped, you are not going to live long. Also take into account that a level 7 blue item could be a lot worse than a level 15 common piece of equipment. Next, check the numbers. You have 3 categories: DPS, health and ability. Certain types of equipment will affect these independently, so think about whether you want to deal the damage or absorb it. Balancing this out will make you the most effective. And lastly, look at the added abilities the blue and rarer equipment has. These can give you some awesome bonuses, and don't forget, these can be altered if you follow tip 3. The Division is a cover-based shooter, however you can vary your attack by using ranged weapons or getting up close and personal with a trusty shotgun. Depending on your preferred method, flanking will make them all far more effective. The cover system works great, and cars, barricades and post boxes will protect you from the foes. Do not simply use these for defensive measures though, as quickly moving between them can cause the enemies to lose sight of you, which can give you an open shot at their exposed bodies. If you are playing with friends, divide and conquer. If like me you want to do this alone, use the remote turret as a perfect diversion. By holding the ability button, you can toss the turret, distracting the enemies and sneak behind them for a quick kill. One of the more interesting components of the Division is the much hyped Dark Zone. This area will see you combating AI and other players online. The first thing to note about the Dark Zone is that you have nothing to lose. All the items held before entering cannot be lost. When collecting items in the DZ, you need to extract them via helicopter for decontamination. This process takes a nail-biting 90 seconds and will attract the interest of anyone in the vicinity, so be vigilant. Why go to the Dark Zone? Well, you'll be able to find the best loot here. Even though the DZ has its own currency and leveling system, you can still use these weapons and equipment outside once they've been extracted. The Dark Zone is not easy, so head in with friends or use the matchmaking, but beware because everyone has the potential to be your enemy. These are 7 vital tips to make your experience in the Division easier. If you have any tips of your own, let us know in the comments below.